right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway week number 3 of the Dega Pros Little Guys series, coming at you here for another great night of racing action. 27 laps on tap as these guys finish up qualifying. We'll get on the grid here very shortly, and we'll get you your starting lineup. It is a big field tonight. 30 trucks are in attendance, and it is a stacked field at that of guys that are not yet in. And we're going to have to see who makes their way into that big championship race at the end of the season here after 27 laps of racing. While we have a moment before we go to the grid, I will go ahead and introduce my broadcast partner tonight. You heard him the last time we were here for the Little Guys series. And you know him. Some of you love him. Some of you may not, but that's okay because he's going to be helping me call the action tonight. That's Mr. Cody Nagels. Cody, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm glad to be back in the booth. Looking forward to a good race. Looking like we got a good, strong field of 30 trucks. So should be some good action-packed racing tonight. 27 laps at Talladega Super Speedway.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I love this place. I talk about it every time I broadcast here, and we got a lot of newer guys in the field tonight looking to make their way into that big race at the end of the season as we get closer and closer to getting these guys on the grid. And then we'll get you to your starting grid here in just a quick moment once we get switched over. It is 27 laps once again here tonight, as it was a couple of weeks ago. I know the complaint we had, so we wish the race was longer, and I think with a big field tonight, I think that's exactly what we're going to be hoping for once again as these guys get their final little efforts in. Looks like everyone has run their qualifying lap, at least all the guys that are going to take a time tonight. And here we go. We're going to switch over to the grid. We'll get the ticker rolling for you here just briefly and give you an idea of where these guys are going to start here tonight at Talladega. So give me just 1 second. Make sure all this comes up and looks all nice for you. There we go. And all right, here we go. Onto the grid. Thomas Parker for KSR is in the house tonight. Quick time of 55.596. The driver of the 51, Josh McCullough. You're used to seeing him in these races. He starts P2 tonight. Kenneth Stamper for KSR rolls from third. Another KSR driver, Dustin Carruthers, who is locked into that final race. He starts from fourth tonight. Then we find Mr. Austin Green of the Ghost Racing Network. He's in the field tonight, rolling from the fifth position with Ron Morris Jr. coming out tonight. He starts in sixth. Zach Range is here as well tonight in the seventh position. Kenneth Gallman rolling from eighth. Aubrey Thompson for Blind Squirrel Racing rolls from ninth in the 38. And Heath Job for OSM, also locked into that race. That final race is going to roll from 10th tonight.
And in P11, we have Trevor Osmanoff, Michaela Steffes in 12th, Jag Hignite in 13th, Cody Atchley in 14th, Richard Elliott in 15th, Devin Ray in 16th, Devin Barnes in 17th, Jeremy Osborne in 18th, Mark Vondell in 19th for McCullough Motorsports, and in 20th is Ryan Baste.
Going back further, Michael Menchaca starts from 21st tonight with Michael Clay to his outside in 22nd. Aiden Kirk, we saw him in PGR a couple weeks ago. He put on a great show. He rolls from 23rd. William Fox for OSM from 24th. Michael Eden will roll from 25th tonight with Tim White in 26th. The owner himself, the big man, John Ward from McCullough Motorsports, rolls from 27th with Brock Westmoreland to his outside in the 15th. There's Michael Triscaro for PGR. He'll roll from 29th this evening with Logan York to his outside in 30th, and wrapping up the field tonight, Joey Allen in the 31st position. So, with all that said, the grid is said and done. We are squared away and ready to go racing here at Talladega. And boy, I cannot wait for this one. It's going to be a fun one. Thank you to everybody for joining us. 27 laps on tap. Here we go. We're rolling off the grid for the first time. Getting ready to put them under the green flag here at Talladega Super Speedway. If you don't know how this works, the top three in these races are going to lock their way in to that final championship race to run for the bigger payouts. I do believe it's still going to be a full field race, but there are going to be certain guys that are going for a little bit bigger payout. And obviously we've got some guys that are already locked in. We'll get those to you here briefly. Ryan Baste, our winner from last week, is locked in. Heath Job, his teammate, is locked in as well as Dustin Carruthers, Michael Triscaro, and the OSM entry of Sean Corbett, who is not in attendance tonight. I do not believe I did not see him. And then we got some people that are in on points right now. You've got Michaela Steffes, you got Jeremy Osborne, Devin Ray, Michael Menchaca, Danny Barnes, Richard Elliott, Josh McCullough, Bradley Stefane, Logan York, Thomas Parker. All of those trucks, I believe, are here tonight. Could lock their way in with a top three finish. Then you've got a bunch of guys that are on the outside looking in, looking to make their presence felt here in the Little Guys series. So we're getting ready to go into the green flag. Here briefly, Thomas Parker on the pole. Cody, what you looking forward to tonight with 30 trucks in attendance? A really big field of guys getting ready to go after it.
I know I predicted the KSR drivers, or at least one of the KSR drivers last week, to put in a strong effort and possibly win the race. So that was 2 weeks ago. Tonight, I'm thinking they might have a little bit of a rebound in them. We shall see. I know the OSM guys kind of stole the show last week, so I don't know. I hate to give a broadcaster's curse to KSR, but I do like where they're qualifying, or where they're at least starting the race, because I mean, you got Thomas Parker in P1 right behind him, Kenneth Stamper. So very strong start. We'll see if they can at least try to control the field. But I'm thinking they're going to have a really good effort in them tonight. Look out.
Oh, it's always look out for KSR. They are always fast. Kenneth Stamper coming off a PGR win and then almost a second PGR win last Thursday. Almost went back-to-back. So he's on a big-time run right now. He wants to keep it going. A big field in attendance for the Little Guys Series Race 3. Certainly the biggest we've had to this point. 30 trucks ready to take the green flag for the first time. Into the restart zone they come. Everybody behind Thomas Parker for KSR. The green flag is in the air for the first time. We are racing from Talladega Super Speedway. And away go the KSR drivers with help from Austin Green. Headed back to turn number 1 outside, trying to get formed up. And early on in this race, you're going to see these guys, it's a bit of a feeling out period. I mean, you're going to see them kind of just work to manage lanes, kind of get up to speed, get used to the guys around them, and that's a huge learning curve when you have a big new field like this. I know that in PGR and other races the past few weeks, and Cody can attest to this, you have to learn the guys around you sometimes when it's a lot of new guys in the field, and that's exactly what we have tonight.
And I'm also looking at I still call it the new draft package with the new damage model. But these cars, or these trucks, are a lot more stable than what the drivers were used to just a few months back. Lately, I have been seeing, though, the bumper hooks have been a little bit rough. That's kind of the give and take you have with the trucks. You have to push hard, because if you don't, your line is going to parachute straight back, and whatever line is pushing hard, they're going to push forward, and they're going to control the race. If you push a little bit too hard, though, it's going to be a bumper hook, and you're going to see the big one. So it's just a fine line that the drivers are going to have to tread on today.
Oh, yeah, it always is a fine line. We're used to that in the trucks. We saw that. If you were with me for Little Guys a couple of weeks ago, if you were with us for PGR or RMR Tuesday Night Thunder, it's all the same in the trucks. Just depends on the group you're running with. But the racing is much the same. You're not going to see a lot different tonight than you would see on a Thursday night, except these guys, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give them a lot of credit tonight. These guys, they are gritty. They are a really gritty bunch. When they get the spotlight, they take it. And look at this, Josh McCullough, big move to the bottom in front of Thomas Parker. He wants to lead. He ran well a couple of weeks ago. He's run well in some Dega Pros races here recently. He's on a pretty decent run, so expect him to run pretty well tonight. He's got some help in the field tonight as well with John Ward and Ron Morris Jr. A little further back, OSM starting to come to the front. I believe that's Devin Ray. It is in the 22. He's got some help from Jeremy Osborne. Guys just trying to find their spots right now. You see Michael Triscaro. He's not going to shy away from coming to the front, as everybody just kind of tries to find their way. This is not a long race. You got to get to the front in a hurry, and that's exactly what some of these guys are trying to do. And up front, though, these KSR boys, I think they're liking where they're at right now. Stamper, Carruthers, and Parker all really, really close to the front right here. And Austin Green, we're going to keep an eye on him as well, as we'd love to see him do well tonight. Oh, boy, Ryan Baste, almost a big moment at the back. And here they come, 3 wide. Devin Ray, Michaela Steffes leading the charge on the outside.
Looking like that 3 wide is going to be looking for a third truck to be able to make a charge up front. Typically what I've seen with 2 trucks, and there it is as I'm talking about it, it takes 3 to get the third line moving. Without a third, the top can struggle a little bit, but Heath Job jumps up. Now the third's building up a little bit of momentum. They're going to be fighting for the lead here shortly. And as I say that, another one comes up. I can't quite see who that is. Looks like a McCullough Motorsports driver. Can you tell me who that one is?
It's Ron Morris in the 76. The South Carolina Gamecocks machine makes the move to the outside. The outside has built a ton of momentum, and all of a sudden, this looks a lot like our PGR race on Thursday night. A lot of 3 wide, about 6 rows deep, make it 7 as Brock Westmoreland joins the outside line, and they're trying to charge to the front. Heath Joe pushing all over the back of Ron Morris. Up front, Thomas Parker up in front of his teammate Kenneth Stamper. KSR lined up 1, 2, 3 in the middle now, but a huge surge from the outside. Ron Morris Jr. to their lead briefly as we bypass here lap number 5, and it's hot and heavy early. Guys looking to come to the front. And, oh boy, it's getting shaky as guys start to make their moves to get to the front. Ron Morris, He may get clear right here. It's going to be awfully close. He's getting a great shove from Heath Job in the 760, one of the guys that's locked in. A little bit less pressure on him tonight. The pressure, trouble a little further back. I think Mark Von Dell just ended up off the racing surface briefly. He's going to get it righted, though, and back up onto the racing surface he comes. And we'll go back up front. Thomas Parker continuing to lead. Third line starting to fade just a little bit, but here they come once again with Ron Morris.
And this becomes a little bit of a battle of who has temps and who doesn't. Kenneth Stamper right now, in my opinion, is going to control the flow of all three lanes, being the pusher in the middle. I think Austin Green's probably getting a little bit hot right now. Heath Job's getting hot, but thankfully now the top cycling temps. Heath Job now leading the top with Ron Morris dropping down in front of Thomas Parker.
Yep, they were able to get it working, and Ron Morris goes to the race lead just briefly. Job getting a nice shove from Michaela Steffes in the outside line, though, as Job looks to take the lead. Boy, he would like to get a win here this evening in the Little Guys Series. Steffes follows him down, though. Can they keep it righted? Not quite. Steffes gets hit, and around goes the Michaela Steffes machine, and you saw it live on your screen happen right in our camera view, as it looked like. And I think we're going to get a decent look at it right here. Some tunnel vision on behalf of Michaela Steffes, as I think she just went to follow Heath Job down the racetrack. We're going to try to get a little bit better look at it for you here down the back straightaway. And we'll see if we have a better view of it. Hopefully we do. That one might do it here, looking up at Michaela Steffes there in the 49. Job gets clear, starts to come down, and yep, looks like Michaela just tries to follow him down. By the time she realizes she's come across the 76's nose, and luckily for Ron Morris, not a ton of damage for him. He's actually able to keep it going straight, but Michaela not so lucky, going to get hit as she comes back up the banking here by, I could not tell which truck it was that hit her at first. I think it's Ashley in the 12, and it is. Big hit there for Ashley, and they go around in turns 3 and 4. Luckily, I think everybody else kept it straight, though, and just unfortunate, one of those bouts of tunnel vision.
Yeah, and I think also that's one of the hardest things to learn as you're working to improve your super speedway craft. You're trying to stay center to the driver in front of you, but if the driver in front of you is not in Discord with you and they don't tell you when they're dropping lanes, it's very easy to get tunnel vision. Unfortunately for Michaela Steffes, a little bit of a casualty to that, and Cody Ashley, of course, with the wreck happening, seemed to be the biggest victim in all of that, running into the back of Michaela Steffes.
Decision time on pit road. Job thought about it. McCullough thought about it. No takers. Looking a little further back, seeing if anybody decides to bite. Zach Range does. That's a new look on Zach Range's machine that we're not used to seeing. Used to seeing the Aflac colors on his truck. Tonight, a little bit different look. Ron Morris, Cody Ashley, Tim White also on the pit lane. Everybody else opting to stay out. They shouldn't need to pit tonight. They did not 2 weeks ago, so everybody should be able to stay out on the racetrack, be good to go here for this short sprint race. Happy that everybody is joining us. Pretty decent crowd here on a late night, here on a Monday night, as we are actually able to get the whole race in this week. Luckily, time worked out a little bit better than it did 2 weeks ago. Glad to give these guys the spotlight that they deserve, but happy to see everybody chiming in the chat. Let's see who we got here. We got Relit Entertainment. We got a Zach Range fan. There's always one, at least one. Zach Range, pretty big fan base for that guy, and he'll have to make it happen here. John Ward in the chat as well. Big Boss Man, I want to thank him for letting us get up here and ramble to you guys about some racing, and again, giving these guys the spotlight that, I'm going to be honest, they deserve and that they don't get enough. I hate that we don't get to cover some of these guys, because there's some great stories in this field of guys that, may not win as much as your bigger names. And obviously, I hate to throw you under the bus here, Cody, but it's guys that may not win quite as much as you guys do. But obviously, you also get the unique perspective of getting to watch these guys get the spotlight as well.
Well, I've been in their shoes, and honestly, I feel like I've been in their shoes it feels like yesterday, where you're trying to prove yourself, and you're the little guy. You have the ability, but you just need the platform to do it. John Ward, fantastic guy. He's giving a platform. You see a 30-truck field. It's fantastic racing, and the Little Guy Series is a good series, and it's not meant to. I don't think it's meant like the term little guy. Some people don't like that term. It's not meant derogatory. It's trying to place a spotlight on people that they have the ability. We see them night in and night out. We see guys like Trevor Oswornoff and PGR, consistent, week in and week out. Them guys are looking for a platform to show what they have. John Ward is giving that to them. I am glad that I'm able to call the race with you. And over the next several weeks, we're going to see these drivers get even more opportunity to showcase what they have in the Little Guys series, in the PGR draft. I know Ron is talking about doing a draft. There is going to be ample opportunity for the spotlight to be on these drivers. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, like I said 2 weeks ago, as a scout, I'm looking at all of these drivers because I get 3 picks as a captain in that draft in 2 weeks on Thursday night. So I am looking for the guys that can hold a line, who can temp manage the best. Because I have always said I think that anyone in the field can push when you have fresh temps. What becomes the challenge is when your oil and your water get a little bit hot, how good are you at managing? Where do you look to cool off your truck? So it's just a lot of little things. It's like a chess match on a 2.66 mile super speedway. Very fun to watch play out.
Oh, absolutely. And you called it as a scout, especially, and we'll talk about that PGR draft maybe a little bit at the end of this if everybody will stick around. We'll definitely mention that. And like you said, as a scout, you're getting a lot of information from this race. This is 30 guys that potentially could be one of your picks in that draft. There are going to be 36 drivers to choose from in that draft over 3 rounds that end up on a random team. So you're looking for guys that can also work with maybe guys they're not used to working with. So it's definitely going to play a factor, and you're right. I kind of hope some of the other captains in that draft are watching tonight. I think they need to be if they're going to pick drivers that are going to help them win the race. I think you're going to get a pretty good idea because this is the combo that's going to be. I mean, as far as I know, at least, it's going to be trucks at Talladega, so you're getting a pretty solid image of who's going to be good in one of those races, in a race that is, by the way, only a little bit shorter than a PGR Thursday night heat race, which is about 40 laps in the feature event. This one's 27, so it's not a whole lot different than what we get in that PGR race. So hopefully some of those other captains, hopefully you're out there watching, and there's a lot of guys looking to prove themselves, get on a good team, and really make it happen when we get to that draft in a few weeks. But right now we got to settle this one out first. Heath Job stays on the racetrack under the caution, maintains the lead, chooses the outside in front of his teammate Devin Ray. We're back out of the green flag on lap number 10 here at Talladega Super Speedway. Going to be 18 laps to go. We head back down for turn number 1. OSM rolling big time in the outside with the help of the Green Ghost, Austin Green, in the 87. And here we go. Don't look now. Michael Triscaro's made his way into the top 10 as well. He rides in 8th, 4th on the outside.
OSM looking to go back-to-back in the race, and honestly, they're looking very, very impressive because you've seen Heath Job earlier in the race come all the way to the front from the 3rd, now controlling the race, dropping down to the bottom. OSM's just doing everything right. OSM, one of the newer teams on the scene, but it just seems like the chemistry is starting to click. Every single race, to me, they're getting stronger and stronger.
Oh, Ryan Baste for sure was a guy I had pinned as a future winner on several different promotions, but now I'm starting to believe in the other OSM drivers as well, as that team, like you said, it's just every time I see them, they are better, they are more confident, and certainly tonight, look at these guys, Devin Ray, Heath Job controlling the lines up front, and they are in control just like they were last week. We saw them go to victory lane on that last restart where they just got in line and shoved and were able to make it happen. Nobody could pass the OSM trucks, and certainly they're putting themselves in a pretty good spot again. And you talked about temp managing the best. Look at what Heath Job is doing. He goes back bottom to middle in front of his teammate Devin Ray. He let him get some fresh air. Now he's going to let Josh McCullough get some fresh air so he can drop back down in front of him and just reset the cycle. I'll tell you what, over the past few weeks, we've seen a lot more guys that are learning to do this effectively. As the trucks get a little bit more, as you get a little bit more experienced with this new draft model. Oh, maybe a little bit of trouble for the OSM guys, though, as Job's going to go around, collect his teammate. We're going to pile up here at the front of the field. This is going to be a pretty sizable incident. A lot of trucks involved. Yellow flag here on lap number 12. We'll try to get a look at it, but this is several incidents. They are still crashing over in turn number 1. And the yellow flag is back out on the speedway. We're going to get a look at it here on your screen. You saw it happen right at the front of the field. And this is where, and I think you may have talked about it earlier, I think this might have been a bumper hook gone wrong up at the front of the field between the two OSM teammates.
Well, as you are able to pull the review, I'm going to give you a minute. There's a couple different perspectives that I want to look at. One, you have Heath Job going down for a little bit of a pinch, and I know I did talk about it, that if you're not pushing for everything you're worth, if you're in Devin Ray's shoes, it's going to potentially cause a bumper hook, because I plenty of times have bumper hooked a teammate. It's unfortunate. However, this particular instance, I do think there was netcode. I don't know if there was inevitable contact. It depends what perspective you want to look at it from. It looks like Heath Job is coming down and netcode's off the right front of Thomas Parker. I'm going to give you an opportunity to look at it and interpret for yourself. That's what I see. I do think there was netcode involved. Not sure if it was a bumper hook.
We're going to take another look at it. This is going to be a pretty definitive angle here, riding behind the 760. Yep, good call. Netcode between the 760 and the 51. So apologies to Devin Ray there. I credited him with that wreck when it really was none of his doing. He was off the 760 completely, and unfortunately for the OSM guys, it's just some netcode gone wrong, and it tends to happen a little bit, sometimes when you get up to the front of the field, you're pinching really hard. And obviously, Job was having to pinch to keep McCullough in line with him, not let him get clear, and unfortunately, we've seen it a lot more the past couple months. It's become a very major issue. Netcode causing a lot of wrecks here recently.
Yeah, and it's not the netcode that we're used to seeing either with the right rear. Unfortunately, if you're going to side draft properly, you're opening up the can of worms of potentially net coding, because as one of the guys that I've ran with for quite a while, Steve Karosik, he and everyone has seen him in PGR and RMR on the money racing scene, as well as FEG. But Steve side drafts very heavily. I see netcode get triggered a lot, but he's also one of the best at maintaining his position with the side draft. Honestly, I've seen a lot of similarities, with Heath Job on that. Heath Job is side drafting, maintaining position, because it looked like the bottom was starting to get the upper hand. Heath Job goes down for a slight side draft. Next thing you know, netcode kicks over. It's just really, really unfortunate, because as a driver, I don't think instinctually we ever think netcode is going to happen when we're in the race, because this is supposed to be as realistic as possible. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it has to do with the connection from driver to driver. If one guy is having a little bit of a higher ping, it can trigger a netcode. I know we've seen it in the earlier race with OP over on Turn 3 Racing Network. A lot of times the drivers can do everything right in their control, and if the internet just has one little relapse in ping, it can trigger a netcode. So it's unfortunate, but it's just a part of iRacing. I don't think that netcode's never going to change.
Nope, certainly it is not. Unfortunately, just made a little bit worse by this new draft model that we've been talking about all night long. As the closer racing just seems to lead to a little bit more incidents, not on the part of the drivers, but just on the part of, like he was talking about, like this, the connection between the two drivers. We've just seen a lot more of it recently, and it comes back to bite a lot of drivers right there, including Heath Job and his teammate Devin Ray, as they were both big time involved in that one, and several other guys also involved. This is going to flip the field around quite a bit here at the front, so we'll re-rack them for you. Lap 14 on the board. Here's we cross the start-finish line, get the 1-to-go signal, and we'll re-rack the field once again. Thomas Parker back to the race lead. Boy, you wanted to see that. Up front, Kenneth Gallman up to second in the 71. Dustin Carruthers, Thomas Parker's teammate. No surprise, they're going to both be on the bottom right here. Richard Elliott, the newest driver for PGR in the 0-2, he's up there, and there's another PGR driver, Danny Barnes, in the 5th position, as Joey Allen's made his way up into the mix now. That's a big time break for Zach Range. We saw him on pit road after the first caution. He's up to 7th. Looks like 8th is going to be Tim White, I believe, with Logan York and Cody Ashley rounding out your top 10. So this is a big time shuffle in the field, as the OSM guys have gone to the back of the field, as well as Austin Green. He got some big damage out of that as well, and several others that are going to have to come from behind late in the going. We're about halfway in to this 27-lap race, and all of a sudden, Kenneth Stamper, he's outside the top 10. Michael Triscaro's outside the top 10. Obviously, we already talked about OSM. They're all the way back in 25th, 26th, 30th. And I'm looking for their other truck that I seem to have misplaced somewhere. Ryan Bates is 21st. So they're all outside the top 20. And the team that we talked about being so dominant, all of a sudden, they have work to do once again. We're going to have to watch and see if they can come from the back of the field. So Thomas Parker, Dustin Carruthers, they're in a really great spot for KSR, but PGR going to have a nice showing here on this restart as well, as Elliott and Barnes await some help from their teammate Michael Triscaro, who's about 6 rows back. Already locked into that final race, but would love another good showing. And here we go. We're getting ready to put him back under the green flag once again. We're going to be halfway home when we cross the start-finish line. It's going to be lap number 15 going on the board. 13 laps to go from the Talladega Superspeedway. It's a quick night tonight, but it's action-packed. So don't go anywhere. Buckle up. Take a deep breath. It might be the last one you get. 13 laps to go from Talladega Superspeedway into the restart zone. Comes Thomas Parker, waiting on that green flag to fly all the way down at the end of this zone. Green flag is back in the air, and we are back underway once again from Talladega. Maybe too good a start for Parker. He's going to go up in front of the top, but this may be a bad move. I don't know if Kenneth Gallman's going to be willing to lift and stay behind him here. We're going to find out pretty quickly as the field gets on the backstretch. Looks like he will pick up the 51. Logan York makes a quick move. They're going to stack up on the top. I don't know how that worked. And some guys behind Logan York maybe not too happy with him. They're already peeking 3 wide off turn number 2.
I'm thinking some of the drivers in the back, this becomes a big chess match now of when do you want to go 3 wide. The pushers in both lanes, obviously, the temps are starting to build up a little bit. The games are being played. Obviously, you see Thomas Parker moving back up to the middle line. The guys in the back, they might want to wait a few laps. You let the pushers get hot a little bit, and I promise you, the top's going to roll. If you go immediately, it's just maybe you go too soon, maybe you don't. I'm thinking if you're toward the back, wait a few laps, and you are going to see the third line surge.
Well, and I think it's going to start with OSM. There, for a little further back, you can see a few of their trucks, the tail end of your frame, and I think they're going to be the first ones to go. And I think they're laying off a little bit, trying to give their teammates a chance to get hooked up. And then I think you're going to see them be the first ones to really test that third lane up against the wall. Down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch once again, inside 12 laps to go. As these guys still too wide, fishtailing all over the place, trying to follow the car in front of them, as it's really discombobulated at the front. And as Carruthers moves up, that's going to leave the bottom open for Danny Barnes of PGR to take the lead briefly. Zach Range on his back bumper, but unfortunately for them, not a lot of help out back in the form of Kenneth Stamper in the 30. Carruthers back across Danny Barnes. And here we go. 3 wide. Richard Elliott goes, but nobody goes with him. Now Joey Allen goes with him, and the third line is rolling once again. 11 laps to go from Talladega. I don't know. They're going to need some help up there. Now they get it. Josh McCullough, Michael Triscaro, and there's an all-black truck back there as well. I can't tell which truck that is. That's the 32 of Michael Menchaca. Here comes Richard Elliott, 3x3, 5 rows deep down the backstretch.
It was a very good move by Richard Elliott to go to the third. Just when you think KSR is starting to control the race just a little bit, Danny Barnes is on the bottom as Richard Elliott. You know, you want to be a good teammate and help advance your teammate's position. What do? Stall the middle line out a little bit. It's going to advance your position up, and it's going to advance the position of Danny Barnes. Oh, as Danny Barnes gets close to clearing there. So next few laps, Danny might be able to clear. Danny might get a little bit hot, but it was a very good move by Richard Elliott, because in going up to the third lane, he is creating an opportunity for Danny Barnes to wiggle clear of Thomas Parker.
Yes, he is. And unfortunately, though, we're going to wreck behind him, though, as the 89 of Ozernauts big time out of shape, and it's going to bring out another caution here late in the going. Ozernauts slides off the banking. Some more trucks involved a little further up ahead. Michael Eden is involved. Looks like Ron Morris, Devin Ray are involved as well. And once again, under the yellow flag here inside of 10 laps to go from Talladega. We'll try to get a look at it for you as Trevor Osbornoff goes around to trigger this one. Try to get a little better look at it. He's already out of shape. You see the 89 up in front of these guys, so we'll get a little bit further back, try to get a better view of it for you. As not really sure what's going to trigger this one. This is a very interesting looking caution. We're going to see if we can get a decent view of it. This one should give us a pretty good amount of insight. I think what I seem to see, and I could be wrong, I think the middle line stacks up. Osbornoff tries to hit the brakes, and by the time he's on the brakes, Ryan Baste obviously not going to be able to go anywhere, and as soon as the 89 is out of shape, he's not going to be able to save this one. Actually, I think it's going to end up getting hooked by the 73. Bounces off Kenneth Stamper. Cody Ashley, well, he gets involved, but I don't think it's too bad for the driver of the 12. Big hit there for the 8. Wow, Michael Eden, that's big damage. Ryan Baste goes around. There's another truck pinned to the outside wall. That is the 07 on the side of the truck. I don't think it's the 07. It is the 07. That's Jack Hignight. That goes to the inside of the racetrack. He's going to actually catch the grass. Looks like he's okay, though, as well. Ryan Bass looks to be okay. Osbornoth, I think, is going to get the worst end of that. And so another wreck inside 10 to go. And I don't know. It looked like a stack up to me. Cody, I don't know what you saw right there, but it looks like the middle line stacked up, and Osbornoth just really not much he could do by the time they were slowing down.
Yeah, that's what I seen as well. It really didn't even look like a bad checkup, but it was just enough with Osbornoth lifting to make sure that he didn't run the 0-2 of Logan York over. It just accordion back. Ryan Bass had nowhere to go. He had a lot of momentum. If you're in Ryan Bass' shoes in that situation, you're trying to get the middle line to be the line that surges forward. So as the 4th and 5th truck back, and in the new damage model, you're able to push the pusher a little bit. Yeah, you can't slam them, but if you're methodical about what you do, and your 4th or 5th in line pushes, and everyone's pushing each other just a little bit, then your line's going to surge forward, and next thing you know, you go from 12th place to P4. Unfortunately, it's just that fine line of, do you push there, or do you lift? And then when you lift, if nobody's behind you, you're going to parachute straight back. So you got to weigh the pros and cons a little bit. It's just a tough break for the 89 and the 73.
Luckily, they will have another shot here as they both are off of pit lane. They're going to be back in this race. Inside 10 to go. Still a little bit of time. Obviously, this restart is going to come with what looks to be 7 laps to go. So still ample time. It looks like Ryan Bass is going to have the help of some teammates back there, I think. Yep, he does have Devin Ray and William Fox back there for OSM. Heat Job not too far in front of him, so certainly he is not out of this. Osbornoth, we know he can find the front. He's done it in PGR more than once, so certainly he will be back in the front of the field here late in the going in this one. As we reset the field for you, it'll be 1 to go when we get back to the start-finish line. Thomas Parker, Dustin Carruthers, they have run an incredible race to this point. Basically done everything that they need to stay up front, keep each other up front, keep each other's temps cool, and make sure nobody's able to get around them, get between them. They're certainly running a pretty great race for KSR, although on this restart, not as much help for them at the front. They're going to be by themselves. As behind them, Richard Elliott for PGR will be 3rd, Kenneth Gallman 4th, Danny Barnes 5th, Joey Allen 6th, Logan York 7th, Zach Range, Josh McCullough, and there you'll find Kenny Stamper in P10. So he has dropped a little ways. He will be not much help to his teammates unless he can get up and get that 3rd line wound up, which you have to give it a couple laps if you want it to be super effective, but you're running out of time, and we saw guys wait a really long time on the 3rd line this time. I don't think they're going to wait that long next time. It's getting close to crunch time, and I think if these guys are smart, they're going to have to start using the 3rd line here pretty quickly. You can give it a lap, but I don't think you can give it much more than that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. We're getting really late in this race. Nobody's going to be waiting for the front to build up any amount of temps. They're going to be going immediately. What I'm looking for here, you have Thomas Parker on the bottom. Obviously, you have your teammate leading the top. They've been cycling temps to perfection, quite honestly, all night. And that's a testament to all of these drivers are learning the parameters of not only the new damage model, but the draft package that comes with it. They know that they have to cycle temps. And it's nothing against any of these drivers, but maybe some of these drivers didn't know that just a couple months ago. Now they're starting to learn the nuances, the ins and the outs of the truck. So now, if you're in Thomas Parker's shoes, you have what I believe that's Richard Elliott pushing behind you. You have Danny Barnes behind him. Teammates both run for PGR. Do you try to hold the bottom and keep them at bay? Or if you're Thomas Parker, do you go up to the security blanket, which is Dustin Carruthers pushing you? It's just, do you want to play it safe? Or I don't know. What would you do in this situation?
I mean, I don't know. I think certainly the KSR boys have run a good enough race that I think if you park in the middle, I think it's a pretty decent shot, but I can't underestimate the abilities of the guys in the bottom lane. The communication that they're going to have on the restart is certainly going to help, and then you start to look at the 3rd in line if in either case. Obviously, if Parker stays on the bottom, he buries the PGR guys behind him and allows Carruthers to basically control their destiny up top. If he goes to the top in front of his teammate, then all of a sudden the 3rd in the line is going to be Logan York, and the 3rd for the KSR boys is going to be Kenneth Gallman. So it's going to be who of those two can make the best push, or is one of those. Is it Kenneth Gallman, Joey Allen, Zach Range going to be the first guy to test the outside wall and get it rolling out on the top shelf? So we're going to find out all of that right about now. At 22 will go on the board, so it will be 6 laps to go from Talladega. Late restart. If we get to the white flag, this race is official. We do have a couple green-white checkers if we need them. These guys would like to finish it out right now. KSR all on the front row. Thomas Parker once again into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing once again from Talladega. I'll tell you what, the outside did not get a good start behind Kenneth Gallman. It's going to leave a gap for one of those PGR trucks to get up if they want to. No, they do not. They opt to stay on the bottom. They know that momentum is rolling. Parker's going to have a choice. It's decision time for Thomas Parker. Does he go pick up his teammate or does he stay on the bottom? 3 wide further back. Zach Range to the outside is the first to go. Menchaca goes. Vondell goes. Austin Green is out there as well as Trevor Osbornoth. And, trouble, Richard Elliott right at the front of the field. Carruthers around. Gallman, Menchaca. Oh, my goodness, this is half the field flying apart here on the back straightaway. Zach Range. Gallman in the 71, the 8. Is in it as well. Michael Eden. Kenneth Stamper is in it. This is a lot of good trucks, most notably Richard Elliott and Dustin Carruthers going around right at the front of the field. And it looked like Richard Elliott was going to commit to go high. I think he just went just a minute too early. I don't know if he waited long enough to make that move.
No, and he never was clear. Unfortunately, it results in the big one, but I see where Richard Elliott's trying to go with it. Unfortunately, the timing's a little bit off. I think I would have probably waited just a little bit longer to see if I could have got that little extra space that it would have took to clear up. It's just it's that little bit of difference that either will cost you your race or potentially put you in victory lane at the end of it. It's a tough break, and it's a tough break for a lot of drivers. That was a big wreck.
Richard Elliott, Michael Menchaca, Kenneth Gallman, Logan York, Mark Vondell, Osbornoth. I don't think he's going to escape this one. Neither is Devin Ray as he piles in there at the right side of your screen. Stamper piles in there at the left side of your screen. Oh, my goodness. This is a lot of drivers. Jack Hignite is in it. And Dustin Carruthers, a little further up, is going to actually, I think he continues to get hit right here. We actually do lose him on the broadcast camera. We'll try to get a better look. Not going to get one. There we go. There's the driver of the 10. Let's try to get a good look at what happened here down the back straightaway. You're going to see him get spun down to the inside. Triscaro, man, what a tough break for the 34. Oh, man. Some big hits into the inside wall for Carruthers, Triscaro, and others. Kenneth Gallman comes back down across. The big one strikes late at Talladega Super Speedway, and it has flipped the field on its head. Inside 5 laps to go, and now, all of a sudden, KSR has one driver at the front of the field. It is only Thomas Parker. PGR only has one driver at the front of the field. That's Danny Barnes. Josh McCullough is back in this. Logan York is in this as well as Cody Atchley, Aubrey Thompson, Westmoreland, Austin Green all made it through. Ryan Bass did as well. Ron Morris. So all of a sudden, a bunch of guys that maybe 2 laps ago were like, well, I'm going to have to go be desperate, now are in a pretty great position to win running at the front of the field.
Yeah, and you go from 3 laps ago, you have KSR up front, all of the teammates look to be connected, PGR starting to get connected, now the big one happens, and as you alluded to, no teammates for any of the teams up front. KSR just won, PGR just won, McCullough Motorsports just won, so it's going to be, to me, who is your friend and who is your enemy? This goes back to numerous races. These guys run 2, 3, 4 nights a week. So have you made a friend in the last few weeks that's up front that's not on your team? Do you have an ally that you're not running with? If I'm anywhere up front, I am looking for my closest ally where I can find them. And maybe your closest ally is the guy either in front of you or behind you. Hopefully, with that driver, you have not made an enemy.
Well, absolutely, and certainly, hopefully, you've made an ally. Now, I will say a couple of housekeeping things briefly for you as we get ready to re-rack the field. Josh McCullough has the closest help of anyone. Ron Morris Jr., obviously running for McCullough Motorsports tonight. Austin Green is also running with McCullough Motorsports tonight. So McCullough's got the closest help of anybody in the field, at least that I'm seeing on my end, and I'll double-check that for you briefly. But as far as I know, that's about the closest set of teammates that we've got in the field right now as we get ready to re-rack. And yeah, I think I'm looking at that correctly. They also have Mark Bondell running for McCullough Motorsports as well tonight. Looking further back here, Aubrey Thompson is up near the front of the field. He doesn't have a ton of help. Actually, yes, he does. Aubrey Thompson, Joey Allen are together. So expect them to be working together in 6th and 7th. So we do have maybe not teammates, but certainly guys that are going to be able to communicate here on this restart and make it happen when they need to. And obviously, further back, you have to worry about OSM. That gives them another shot, and they are much closer to the front of the field this time around. Here we go. We're going to put them 2 by 2. It's going to be overtime here at Talladega Super Speedway as we get ready to put these guys back under the green flag once again. What a race it has been. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. I know it's late on the East Coast, but that's, it's kind of how it is, as many people have league racing, money racing, other commitments on a Monday night. We can't all be here super early, but obviously love to be getting the race in for you no matter when it is. And we're going to finish it up hopefully right here. It's going to be an overtime attempt, I think. Might be actually, we're going to put lap 26 on the board. No, it is going to be an organic green-white checker, so this is not going to count towards our overtime attempts, of which I do believe we have 2 of them. It's either 2 or 3. I do believe we have 2. But I will try to double-check that as well. But hopefully we don't need any of those, and we can just finish it right here. The race gets back to the white flag. The race is official. They can wreck all they want, and we're going to crown a winner. And certainly a lot of guys in this field that would love to get this victory. And all right, here we go. 2 laps to go. Cody, anybody you got your eye on?
You put me on the spot. I called him last week. It didn't work out. Thomas Parker has ran a very, very strong race tonight. He's been up front. He has cycled temps perfectly. I know he doesn't have any help behind him. I picked KSR last week, and it burnt me. I'm going to go right back to the well. I'm picking the 51 of Thomas Parker.
That certainly would be a pretty good pick. As for me, if I'm looking back a little further, Josh McCullough is certainly a safe bet in the 0-5. He's run well in these races to this point. I think he'd be a safe pick. If you want me to go a little further back and go a little bit out there, I don't think you can bet against a guy like Brock Westmoreland, who was in the Ron Morris Racing Championship race here a couple of weeks ago. So certainly a guy to watch as well in position number 10. Here we go. It's going to be an organic green-white checker. 2 laps to go from Talladega Super Speedway. Just over 5.5 miles to decide the winner of round 3 of the Little Guys Series. Green flag is back in the air. And we are back racing, headed back for turn number 1. What a start for Danny Barnes in the 7. He gets up and going and is actually maybe going to clear Thomas Parker, not quite, but Logan York is to him. Danny Barnes may be in a pretty good position, although Parker getting a nice shove from Josh McCullough, goes right to the top. Barnes may split him immediately. Nope, they decide to stay in line. Austin Green out to the outside. Now Barnes goes. Oh, now he tucks back in line. Austin Green leading the 3rd line with the help of, I believe that is Brock Westmoreland in the outside line. Ryan Bass going with him, but it's all Josh McCullough up front as he is able to take advantage. 3rd line already rolling, though. How good a push can Brock Westmoreland give to Austin Green? All of a sudden, the 87's got some clean air. 3 wide all the way through the field, coming back to the white flag.
Austin Green certainly is one of the best at side drafting and leading a line as well. I know typically we see him calling the races over at Ghost Racing Network, but he certainly knows how to get around Talladega Super Speedway. It does not surprise me that Austin Green is pushing for the win here. Let's see if he can close it out.
3 wide for the race lead here. This is the white flag. The race is official. Cody actually pokes his nose out front. Westmoreland needs to give one more big shot to the back of the 87, and I think he may get him clear. Bottom line all over the place. Middle line trying to stay solid as Parker and Barnes hang in there behind Josh McCullough. Here we go, 3 wide, still all dead even. Now Ashley pulls ahead. Does he block? I don't know. It may be smart to block, but Aubrey Thompson may get clear. He may have a look at this in the 38. He is going to get clear. Aubrey Thompson, does he take a look? Still waiting, still waiting. Here he goes. 38 of Aubrey Thompson to the outside with the help of Josh McCullough. They wreck further back, never mind. Out front, they wreck at the front in the tri-oval. Who's going to make it through? Oh, they're still wrecking.
Oh, boy.
Who in the world is going to make it through this? Dustin Carruthers wins race 3 of the Little Guys Series. Unbelievable. Everyone seemingly wrecked in the last 1,000 feet of the race. And Dustin Carruthers, already locked in, decides to go to victory lane while he's at it. What a finish at Talladega.
Oh, and what a finish it was. Dustin Carruthers is like finding a needle in a haystack in amongst another big one coming to the line at Talladega Super Speedway. I do not know how in the world the 10 found his way through that to the start-finish line, but he sure did. What a win by Dustin Carruthers.
All right, we'll go on board with him here. Here we go. Dustin Carruthers. We're going to see exactly how he gets through this. You're going to see them start to wreck in front of him. There it goes. And the seas part for the driver of the 10. Oh, my goodness. He just barely gets a piece of Danny Barnes, but has enough to get across the start-finish line. And that was, wow, that was quite a perspective. I hope we can get a look at him burning it down. Nope, looks like he's decided not to. So Dustin Carruthers comes away with the race win. I don't even know where to start. It looked like everybody wrecked, and we're going to take one more look at it here for you, the checkered flag. And I don't even know where this starts. I think it starts with Aubrey Thompson, as we're going to try to get a good look at this, hopefully. I don't even know if we have a good enough camera to show you everything that happened in the last 500 feet of this race. And then we'll go get your top three, hopefully, for a quick word with them. All right, here we go. They're wrecking out back. You see Joey Allen go around. Ashley gets what looks to be a bad push from Ron Morris. That sends him into the 38. McCullough gets turned by Austin Green. They bounce off the outside wall. At this point, I thought Thomas Parker was going to win. Then Westmoreland gets turned by Brian Baste, trying to miss the first wreck. Parker goes off the outside wall. Barnes gets turned across the field. There you see Dustin Carruthers like a bullet coming through the field. Drives through the wreck. Westmoreland and Baste somehow are going to finish second and third. And that's awfully close for third. Boy, Aiden Kirk almost stole a podium. I cannot believe what we just saw.
I've got goosebumps just looking at Brock Westmoreland and how Brock Westmoreland was able to get to the line without being involved in the wreck. I mean, Brock Westmoreland was absolutely sideways somehow, and it looked like Westmoreland was turned off the nose of Baste in amongst like all of the carnage, and somehow Brock Westmoreland able to straighten the truck out and get back to the line. Then coming to the line, Brock Westmoreland and Ryan Baste bounce off each other again and fight for their podium spots second and third. What a finish.
Everything that could happen in the last 1,000 feet of a Talladega Superspeedway race happened as we got into the tri-oval, and somehow we end up with a wild top three, which I thought for sure Dustin Carruthers, I mean, he was 4 or 5 rows back. He was just going to have to hope for exactly what happened, and he got it, and he drives through it. All right, well, we're going to go through your finishing results while I try to draw these three guys in, and we'll get an idea of exactly what we're looking at here. So give me just a second, and then we'll go through your finishing results. But give me just one quick second. We'll get your top three working their way over here, and we'll try to get a word with them on what was an incredible finish at Talladega. Hang on, just 1 second. All right, back live at Talladega. We've got your top three working their way for interviews, and we've already got one of them, so we'll go ahead and get it started. And that is your third place finisher tonight, Ryan Baste. Hey, Ryan, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, guys. Yep, I got you.
Well, I don't even know where to start. We were just trying to catch our breath and explain to everyone what we just saw there on the finish. Take us through your view of it and how the heck you managed to come home third.
I mean, I think must have been sitting in 10th or so coming into the tri-oval, and I was just locked on Brock's back. I heard him. I saw him kind of all the smoke just start going off, and I just grabbed onto the wheel and held on. I know we bumped together a couple of times, and somehow I stayed somewhat straight to the line, but that was crazy. It was a prayer.
Well, it was a prayer, and I mean, you're already locked in, so this is kind of as icing on the cake for you. This is back-to-back really great runs after we saw you get the job done a couple of weeks ago, and just kind of talk to us for a minute about the momentum that you guys at OSM are gaining. We talked about you guys earlier on the broadcast, just about how much chemistry it looks like you guys have. So, what are these kinds of nights doing for you guys as a team? Because you guys are really starting to improve.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of races in together, which you can't, no matter how many times you go around the track with each other in practice, you just can't get that race experience unless you're doing it. And it's really starting to click, together. I definitely feel like we are running with more of a team mentality, with the ability to help each other get to the front, help each other stay in the front. And I can tell you it's a lot more fun doing that than working as a solo.
Oh, it certainly has been, and what an effort it is for you again tonight. You come home in the third position, and while we have you here for a second, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, shout out to my wife upstairs. I think she's watching right now, so thank you for everything. The boys over at OSM, Heath, Devin, Fox, thanks for racing with me. BB doing a great job running the team. And the boys over at Blampers for all the support.
All right, well, third place finish, another great effort for you. Back-to-back weeks of really great runs, and you're putting up some great momentum headed towards that championship race. Thanks for talking to us. Congrats on that big effort, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
That was Ryan Based. We're still waiting on our other two finishers here to jump up here, so we'll go through your finishing results hopefully while we wait on them. Hopefully they jump over here and we can get a word with them, because I want to hear from both of them. I hope they jump over here, man. I want to hear from these guys. They got through that wreck, and we'll go through your finishing results, and hopefully by the time we're done with those, we will have those guys at least somewhere close over here. So here we go. We'll go through it for you just briefly as we look to get these up on the board. Dustin Carruthers with quite possibly the most unlikely win I have seen in a very long time. There's nothing else you could say. I think that's the best way to put it. Brock Westmoreland, I picked him on the last restart, and he almost justified my pick. I almost nailed it right on the head, but alas, very close. Ryan Based goes third for OSM. We just got a word in with him. Great momentum for the OSM boys. Aiden Kirk goes fourth. What a great effort for the driver of the 47 tonight. Thomas Parker, it's another disappointing end, and man, this one hurts. I mean, you got to be sick to your stomach, I think, if you're Thomas Parker, or if you're Cody Atchley, or one of those other guys. This one is just, it's brutal, and I know it personally. This kind of finish can it can be killer. But he comes home in fifth. Still a good effort for the driver from KSR. Oswornoth makes it a 1-5-6 for KSR tonight. He goes sixth. Nice recovery for him. Danny Barnes, seventh for PGR. Zach Range in eighth. Michaela Steffes recovers, finish ninth. And Ron Morris goes 10th for McCullough Motorsports.
And in 11th, we have William Fox, Devin Ray in 12th. Austin Green in 13th. Austin had a very good final restart, and like I said, Austin's just one of them you can never count out. He's broadcasting most of the time, but when you see him on the track, I promise you, he is not going to disappoint. Kenneth Gallman in 14th. Jeremy Osborne in 15th. 16th is Joey Allen. 17th, Michael Clay. 18th, Mark Vondell. 19th, Tim White. And 20th is Heath Job.
21st, Aubrey Thompson. 22nd is Jack Hignite. 23rd, Cody Atchley. 24th, Josh McCullough. 25th, Richard Elliott for PGR. In 26th, Kenneth Stamper, the final KSR driver in the field tonight. 27th, Logan York. 28th, Michael Eden. 29th, Michael Triscaro. 30th, Michael Menchaca. That's going to round out your 30-truck field tonight. We're going to try one more time to get your top three for interviews. I know Dustin Carruthers is around here somewhere. He sometimes will tune into the broadcast. Dustin, if you're in there, come on and get up in here. I want to get a word from you, because this would be a huge missed opportunity. If I don't get a word in from either him or Brock Westmoreland about this finish. So we will give it just a second. We'll talk briefly about the race while I watch for those two guys. And what a race it was, man. These guys, oh man, they managed to just make it one step better. It seems like every time I see these guys, they get better and better. And certainly tonight, this was the best of the best, and we have a great group. I mean, this is some great stuff going forward. We are going to have Brock Westmoreland here briefly, I think. Let's see. I cannot move him. Hopefully he jumps up here with us. Hang on just a second. We're getting him. Cody's going down to get him, and we'll get to talk to Brock about this unlikely second place finish. All right, Cody, I'm putting you under the bus. Oh, Cody's gone again. Well, hang on just one second, Brock. All right, Cody, I'm putting you under the bus because I know you raved about this finish for Brock Westmoreland. So, Cody, take it away. You're standing by with our second place finisher.
Brock, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I had a lot of fun watching you on that final restart, man. Take us through what was your mentality looking like, and how you could potentially make it through the carnage that was going on the final lap.
Man, I seen Austin Green up there, and I knew he was a pretty clean driver. So he hopped up to the outside line there pretty quick, and I said, I'll just push him to the front. And thought we might be able to get it done there, and then all hell broke loose, and seas parted. It just worked out.
So what did you think when it looked like you got slightly turned a little bit off the nose of Ryan Basted? You were sideways. You were pointed down to pit road. What were you thinking? Did you think you had any chance of saving that?
Man, I did not. I thought I was gonna be backwards across the line there at one point, but man, I just kept fighting the wheel and kept her straight and come out of it second. I was like, hell yeah.
And second place, definitely going to be a little bit of a payday for you, and certainly a good finish. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank or shout out?
I just thank you guys for the broadcast. Thanks, John, for putting it on, and it's a good race.
A good race it was. Well, P2, like I said, you come home P2, certainly is a great performance to build off of, so appreciate you taking time out to talk to Dawson and I.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Our second place finisher, Brock Westmoreland. That leaves us with one guy, and I'm going to tell you what, this is the guy I wanted to talk to the most after we saw that finish, because I really have no clue what we just saw, and who better to ask but the man himself, Dustin Carruthers. Buddy, how the heck did you make that happen there?
Well, I just grabbed onto the wheel and held on for dear life.
Well, you come home with a victory, and it's a victory. It's a big one for you. I mean, obviously, we already saw you lock into that final race, but what a big moment of momentum it is, really, for all of KSR. Despite the finish there, you guys go 1-5-6. Just, kind of take me through your guys' race as a team, because we saw you guys run very, very well, almost dominant tonight up at the front of the field. Looks like you guys had another great run and are working in the right direction.
Yeah, we just wanted to stay up front and try to control the lines as much as we could, and try to get some more teammates into that final race.
Oh, and that you do, and you're going to have another chance at it in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we've seen Thomas Parker, we've seen Trevor Osmanoff run really well, we've seen Kenny run really well here the last couple of weeks in PGR. You guys are going in the right direction. A couple of weeks left to get more of the KSR boys into the playoffs. So, where do you go from here? I mean, this has got to be good for you and for the team. Just kind of, take me through how you attack the next 2 weeks, especially now that we have a bigger field.
I think we just keep doing what we're doing. We keep running our hosted races, practicing every week together, and it's all going to pan out for us.
Well, that's usually how it goes. Certainly, it's going to be fun to watch the KSR boys try to make it into the final race. While we have you here for a second, anybody you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank my kids, my buddy John. We just have to spot a little bit there. Obviously, Kenneth Stamper and all the guys at KSR, Trevin, Thomas, Brian, all the guys that are there with us every week.
All right, well, a huge win for you. The C's part, you drive through it, you get the victory, get the job done tonight. Congratulations on that huge win. Go celebrate it with your teammates, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Dawson.
And that's our final interview tonight. Dustin Carruthers in the 10, and that is going to wrap it up here from Talladega Super Speedway. This series, I'll tell you what, it's been 3 weeks for the series. It's been 2 weeks of me being here, being able to call it. Man, these guys do not disappoint. Holy cow, what a race again tonight. Just it's a spotlight we don't get to see, and these guys make the most of it in a big way. What a race tonight, and what a great finish. And man, Cody, you gotta think. I mean, these guys are just putting on more and more of a show every single week.
Oh, absolutely. And in my opinion, this is racing in its purest form. There is no games going on. It's pure heart and determination, and it's 30 drivers out there that's looking to make a name for themselves. And, I mean, the wreck, huge wreck in the Tri-Oval, But ultimately, that's why we enjoy super speedway racing. You can develop all the skill in the world, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, one little mistake turns everything you've worked for into a lottery. It's like 30 adrenaline junkies out there that do it night in and night out, knowing that they can play all of their cards perfectly and still come out with like P20, P25. It's the ultimate crapshoot, and you never know. You have to be on your toes every single second. Tonight did not disappoint. I had a lot of fun calling the race with you.
Well, I had a lot of fun calling it as well, and certainly another great race. We still have 2 more of these before we even get to the championship race, so I will update you really quickly. Dustin Carruthers and Ryan Bass, they were already locked in, so they stay locked in. That's just going to be another big boost in payouts and points for them. Brock Westmoreland, though, his effort tonight locks him into that championship race. He'll go for the bigger payouts as well with his second-place effort tonight. With only 2 more guys locking in, it leaves a lot of opportunity, and certainly we'll get more of that next week. That's going to do it for us. I want to appreciate everybody that came out to watch tonight. I know it's late. It's 12:20 on the East Coast. It's certainly we are pushing early Tuesday morning here for the Little Guys series, but certainly it was well worth the wait, well worth the late night, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Meanwhile, be looking out for some more content from me. I will say just briefly, just while I have you here for a few more seconds, be watching out for some stuff later this week. Obviously, we got PGR Thursday Night Heat back on Thursday evening. Should be Austin and Baker back in the booth for that one. It will not be me. I'll be in Bristol this weekend, so hopefully they will pick you up on the Ghost Racing Network. May have some content for you tomorrow, some off-season Ron Morris Racing event going on tomorrow night, and maybe I'll have the call, maybe Austin will have the call. We'll find out. We'll get that to you here tomorrow, but some fun racing coming up, and then obviously the Little Guys series returns next Monday night at the same time. Hope to see you back. Hope to see everybody that raced back. Hope everybody enjoyed, and that's going to do it for me. I have been Dawson Wise for my partner Cody Nagels tonight. Wishing everybody a good night. Everybody have a great week. We will see you